Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to class. I'm Rabbi Dr. Oluwafemi. Today we are addressing the biblical Hebrew and with the topic the Hebrew verb. The Hebrew verb. Although this will be an introductory session to the Hebrew verb. We'll be addressing the Hebrew verb and even from the context of the Semitic languages. It is understood that Semitic languages are formed by the introduction of three distinct structures in a lexical root. And the first is what I've captioned the suffixes, the prefixes, and the emphasis. So in a lexical root. So in other words, Hebrew as a Semitic language, the words are formed by the addition of suffixes, prefixes, and emphasis. And in other words, this addition will in turn affect the meaning of the word. In other words, you're going to write Isha. Ish means a man, while Isha means a woman. However, it's just the suffix that brought about the difference between Ish and Isha. So that's why it's very important when you are studying the Hebrew verb to be very cognizant regarding the prefixes, suffixes, prefixes, and the emphasis, because all of these are what bring about the transformation of the words. All right. So having known this, it is also right to understand that the Hebrew has no tenses. In other words, the Hebrew language has no tenses, and I'm going to show that now. So all of these are what should be understood before moving, approaching the verbal system of the biblical Hebrew. So another thing to note is that Hebrew has no tenses. But I wrote this now. It is understood from other languages. The European languages, English, that tenses indicates time. So when this language has no tenses, now that's already a challenge understanding the biblical Hebrew. So how do we know which tense or when exactly a particular action occurred? So to do that, just very simple. We have something to compensate for this missing action, and that is what we call the context. The context. So context of a word will help us to understand the time of that particular event. So when you read the biblical Hebrew, or the Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Bible, it is very important you check the context so as to know the actual time an event occurred. Now, to further know the time of event in Hebrew, we have two full inflections, two full verbal inflections, and these two verbal inflections helps to understand a person, the gender, and number in a particular sentence. So, and these two full verbal inflections are what we see as the what connotes the state of the particular line of reading instead of the time of a particular action. When I said tenses indicate time. But in Hebrew, we don't have tense. The only thing to note, to should check for time is what we call the context. Tell the time. Then addressing the two full verbal inflections that helps to understand person, number, and gender. So they connote or indicate state rather than time. We don't indicate time, but they indicate state. So, and we have these two, the two verbal inflection. We have incomplete state, and we have complete state. So these are the two full verbal inflections that is being submitted for person, gender, and number. So we have the incomplete state, talk about incomplete state, and we have the complete state. And now this incomplete state is what helps us to understand the perfect tenses that we have. Perfect tense or actions that are perfect, that have been completed. That's the complete statement, that means tense. Then we have the incomplete state, which helps to address the imperfect actions. So actions that that was hard, that were not completed. So, and for English, when we talk about the complete tense, complete state, which is a perfect actions that have been done. It is used in English. It is seen as the perfect, as past tense, while the incomplete state of action in Hebrew, which is used for imperfect actions, are seen in English language as the present tense or future tense. So all of this will be learned in this teaching. So we have two given sentences to check for the perfect tense. So let's see these two in a moment. All right, so to what I just said, I said we have the perfect tense or perfect action or completed action in Hebrew, is seen as, in English is seen as a past tense. A past tense because it is a completed action. Action in a completed state. All right. Then that's English is English. All right. Now addressing the imperfect action. Or imperfect action or tense now. Don't forget I said there are no tenses in Hebrew, so this is as a imperfect action. All right. So to ease confusion, let's just have it as imperfect action all through. All right. So imperfect action, so actions that are seen as incomplete or incomplete actions and were not completed at that particular stage. So we have them as in English they are seen as present or future tenses. So imperfect action, uncompleted action, and an incompleted state in Hebrew is seen in English as a present tense or a future tense. All right. So now let's move further. Let's address the perfect action. So in Hebrew, to to showcase a perfect action, there has to be the addition of suffixes to the relative stem. I want to show that now. So we have the perfect action is by formed by the addition of subject suffixes to a relatively phased stem. All right, so let's have the structure as we have car, we have car, tap, car, tap. Then it means car, which means E root, E root, car, tap, E root. Now let's have that's a third person singular. Let's have first person singular.